Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Natasha Makes. It's a bit of a lie, that, isn't it? It's not me making it at all. It's Jane, because it is our Stitchy Witchy Wednesday with the very lovely Jane Orcock. And today is Jane's big one. It's not called that, is it, Jane? What's it actually called?
Grand Illusion, I think.
Grand Illusion. This is Jane's take on a log cabin. She couldn't, just do it like everybody else. No. There's no copyright on a log cabin. No. Do it anyhow you like. And this is Jane's spectacular take on it. It is a big boy. There's no denying that. Do we know how big?
Well, I've said 60 by 78, I think, on the pattern.
Did you? Just because you could? Did we measure it?
Yeah, I did measure it.
Okay, that's all right then. We're not just making that up.
Yeah.
We like
I just looked at it then and I was like, is that 60? Looks bigger. Looks bigger.
Is it? I don't know. So this is how it went yesterday. We need a photo of it for the front cover of the instructions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I stand there and hold it up. Jane holds it better than you. Yes, but Jane's not as tall as I am. You know who it is that's saying this, don't you? Jane just holds it better. Not very good at holding. Like, great, okay. Turned over at the edges. It's a stretch, right? No, it's got a wrinkly bottom. Stand on a box, right? Stand on a box.
All
now I can see too much of the box. My arms are out like this. I didn't need to go to the gym last night. My arms were going to drop off. So, please appreciate the photo on the front of the pattern because my arms suffered for that. Might not have any bingo wings, that'd be all right. That's the shenanigans that were going on yesterday. Low. Yeah. The other thing that happened was we saw Lowe's post on Facebook about, was it a shenanigator? Yes, someone who instigates shenanigans. And Gemma's been saying for a while now that she doesn't really know what her job title is. She does now.
She's the shenanigator.
She is the Natasha Makes shenanigator. Right. So today we have got Jane's big one. We have also got for you a sneak peek of Half Meter Heavens that go live tomorrow. It looks like I've got overexcited, I know, but I haven't. Well, I haven't. Because some of these I've only got like ones of because they're just end of bolt. Morty, I can see you eyeing up my khaki table runner. Don't you dare. The cats were allowed in for special behaviour this morning, weren't they, into the studio, which has seen HP came in, the old girl, and the boys are now trying to impress her. Malcolm is, as we speak, just sniffing her discreetly while she tries to sleep. That's really annoying, isn't it? Yeah.
Somebody going in your ear.
It really is. And Morty's planning, I don't know, some kind of world domination in the corner. So if you just hear like noises off and the odd crash, it'll be them. It will be them. I found Malcolm swinging off a camera the other morning.
Oh, nice.
It's like, we really need to get this across to the new place. It is time. Because this is not their, they seem to use it like a play jungle.
Yeah.
Soft play, yeah. It is not. Right, who have we got with us this morning? Shall we see? We have got Janet and Julia. Good morning. Oriel, bright and early. And Love the Quilt. Hooray. Who else we got? Jacqueline! Good morning, Natasha and Jane. Wonderful to see you live. Have missed you. Well, Jacqueline, you've been here, there and everywhere, haven't you? How was the baby shower? Her daughter looks just like the most beautiful person pregnant.
Really?
Some people do it with grace and elegance.
Yeah, this glow. Yeah.
I'm still waiting to glow. When does that happen? Emily turns 3 on Sunday. Can I glow then?
Yeah.
Will that happen? And we've got Grandy McPhail. We've got some really good names, haven't we? Really good names. I've got to think about a name. Good morning, Marlene. And Auntie Lizzie, good morning. You look very swish today, Natasha. Thank you very much. It was clean.
Pretty in pink today.
It was clean, so on it went. I don't like to give too much thought. It's clean, it's good. Morning, Helen and Jenny. Good morning, Valerie. And Kate, good morning. And Kathy, good morning. Oh dear, Gemma's on one already. Morning, everyone. Who doesn't love a big one? This is Gemma. You will find kits and instructions for the fabulous log cabin illusion quilts, along with all the other goodies here. And she's put the link. Carol and Danny, she's on one.
Cheeky, and
she's
the only one that gets away with it.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's because she is HR. Yeah. I mean, that's the other problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, when the HR one is, you know, the worst of the bunch, there's not a lot of hope for the rest of us. Morning, Leslie. Morning, Jane. Morning, Geraldine. And good morning, Kate, your mum.
Hi, Mum.
And good morning, Janet. And Geraldine says, oh, you did glow. Can't believe it's been 3 years. I glowed because it was quite hot under those lights for standing up for 5 hours at a time. That's why I glowed.
Make me glow.
Believe me, they were not comfortable shows at all for me. Myra, you are asking the impossible. She's asked Elizabeth to keep it clean. It's already gone wrong this morning, hasn't it, on that? Let's see. Yeah, Elizabeth's now calling Myra a spoil sport.
Oh,
Be
nice.
I don't think she means it.
No, she's
I think
all
there
in
are
jest.
winky faces all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to see? I don't know, actually, I haven't seen Karen on there this morning. Oh, good morning, lovely ladies. Super quilt this morning. Yes, it is. Right. Let's have a little sneak peek at these, shall we? Like I say, it's a mixed bag today of ones that I've got, you know, enough of, and those that I've got, one you're going to have to be quick. It's going to be that midnight dash, isn't it? Because all these go live on the Natasha Makes Breakup site tonight at midnight. Don't know why I sang that to you, to be fair, but, you know,
That's
enjoy.
rather nice.
I tried to.
You can do it in the style of psalm singing.
Now, do you know what else is rather nice?
Yes.
This is the last. Is this the last of it? I think it might be the last of it. I can't remember. But this is. This is the. I've got it. Hang on. I don't know why I'm looking at my phone for inspiration there. This is the Deal by Earl mini gecko. Where is it? You don't actually get the geckos in this, but the big gecko, you get the gecko in.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Does that make any sense at all? This is the big gecko. So what I've tried to do with this, so here are the geckos, around there, like so. They're not obvious geckos. They're not like in-your-face geckos.
No, you would never. You'd have to really look.
You do, yeah. They're discreet. Discreet gecko-age is where I'm going with that. Now, here's the thing, right? Because I know that a lot of you will be like, oh yeah, deal, right? Yeah, I need a lot of that in my life. Of course. I mean, I can't.
Why would you not?
I know, right. So what I've done is, if you're going for the big gecko and you're going for the little echo, mini echo, gecko, I can't even say it. Good grief. Then this fabric is going with this one. This is sapphire going with this one because it picks out all of that. But it was a toss-up as to which one to put with which. They both go. So if you are going for both / and or all, then just look how those go really beautifully together. So that would be my thing with you. These feel really nice.
It's beautiful base cotton.
It is
really
beautiful.
Is.
Yeah.
Nice weight to it. It's lovely.
So that is the first. I've got 7, I think, of each of these. Not many.
No. There wasn't much left on the bolts, was there?
No. Because I know a lot of you have had a good old go at those, to be honest. This is the other Deal by Earl. Now, look at it. It's the hot colours she uses.
Yeah, it's really vibrant, aren't they?
You can see how her working with the K Facet Collective just fitted when she did their velvet ribbons. Because she's the one that brought us velvet ribbons, everybody. So if you, again, you know, if you are going for these, it's all going to work beautifully, right? Beautifully. Look at that one. But this, the cardinal, just goes. Reds are weird creatures, aren't they?
Yes.
They really are. But this one, I tried it with a pink. I tried it with the sangria.
Too pink.
Bit too pink. It sort of looked nice. Actually, what looked really nice was sangria as a half metre with it, because that clash of the pink and the red looked gorgeous with that.
Yeah.
But I was like, but that's not halfway to heaven, is it? Oh, I suppose I could have done.
You could have done a, you know.
Or maybe I might. Well, we'll just have to see, won't we?
Well, our lovely
There's a little
customers could
caravan
always
on there.
just pop on and buy themselves a half metre of sangria to go with it.
Do you know what, Jane? That's not a bad idea. It's like it's up there for
Because we've got it all
down there
cut
for
by
dancing.
order, isn't it? We've got it
Yeah.
all there, cut by
It's
order.
all there. It's all there. Do you know what isn't all there?
There's not much of that left.
That's not very much of this. I've got 3 of these. Well, it's, yeah. So this is your William Morris in Aqua. It's the big one, not the mini one.
Yes, lovely.
But Jane, look, Sparkle Blender.
No.
Yeah. Doesn't that just?
Oh, that's lovely.
I
Just
know.
a bit of glitter in there.
This is what I was doing this morning when I was singing along to all my songs.
Yes, I
cutting
came in and the
away.
music was loud and I was like, oh, Natasha's in.
I know, but that's the nice thing about being in the house O'Wares.
Yeah, you
is
can
that
turn it right up.
I will not wake anybody up. Well, apart from possibly the security guard, and he should technically be awake anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, to be fair.
I think he probably is.
Yeah. Now, how about, and I've done this the same. This is your Philip Jacobs butterflies. This is from the Snow Leopard, his Snow Leopard label. So this is his own label without KFC. And I don't mean chicken in a bucket.
No.
I mean the K Facet Collective.
I love that colourway. But then I'm a bluey greens person.
Well, you know, so it feeds into all of that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But then, what about, and this one's called Shelley.
Oh.
So if you happen to go for a spot of Shelley, I've picked out a blue that will work, and just so that you know, the greens work across the board. So again, it's not, I've just tried.
Yeah.
Some would say I'm very trying. But they're just mean. There we go. There's that.
You don't have to be friends with them.
I know, right? They're just not my tribe. Just not my tribe. It's fine. I'm comfortable with that. You can't like everyone. Too many people on the planet to like everyone, not just like generally.
Well,
I don't know,
yeah,
maybe
there is
are.
generally.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if you want to get into that, there is.
If you want to talk to David Attenborough about that, that's a whole other conversation. Let's look at bluebells, shall we?
Yeah.
And change the subject.
Just lighten the subject
rapidly.
slightly. Yes.
Oh,
that's pretty.
upside down bluebells, inside out, upside down.
There's a song
Oh,
about that, in and out the, what's it,
Dusty Bluebells.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's one of the songs from childhood you can still sing without offending people, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I think so.
They tried to ban Bar Bar Black Sheep. What's that all about?
Ridiculous.
He's just a sheep.
Yeah.
Just a sheep. Now, here we go. This is Bluebells by... So this is all from the Secret Stream collection by Philip Jacobs for his own Snow Leopard collection. But this is inspired by the river that he lived at next to as a child. That he used to, you know, potter about, swim in, boat in, generally shenanigate around.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Jacobs would be a shenanigator.
Oh, definitely.
Do you know
I
what?
think liked a
Next
little bit
time
of
he
shenanigans.
finds another dinosaur and has to name it, do you think he could call it a Shenanosaurus? Oh, I'll ask him. But like Philip. Now. This is, and I've only got 3 of these. I went with lemon.
Yes, it works. Lemon works beautifully with that.
Doesn't it work with lemon? Doesn't it work with lemon?
Because
It's a
of the
bit gorgeous,
gold in
isn't
it, it's that warmth, isn't it?
Just works.
Yeah.
Just works. Myra's just laughing. It's all fine. And Myra and Elizabeth are exchanging kissy emojis, so we're all good there.
That's okay.
Yeah. There is love. It's all well. Now, I've only got 4 of these.
Nice.
Lisa Chandler tile with all of that beautiful metallic-y goodness and paprika.
Paprika goes so beautifully with that
Doesn't
colourway.
it? Doesn't it? Doesn't it? And you know what? If you got your zips off yesterday's shows, you can make so many beautiful things with
Oh,
these.
yeah.
So many beautiful things. We sourced you zips so that you could make beautiful things. You can thank me later. It's
We
fine.
just have the zip and stroke it because they're gorgeous.
Well, the zips are beautiful quality. Zips are not all created equal, are they? Let's be completely and utterly honest about
Those
that.
are gorgeous zips.
But they are. Yeah. Went out of my way to find you good stuff. Paprika again. It's a bit of a paprika-y morning.
It sort of goes with the feel
Yeah,
of
but it
the
does.
day, doesn't it? We're going a little bit autumn.
I have 3 glow-in-the-dark pumpkin patch Lewis and Irie. It's not called pumpkin patch.
Spooky
called?
pumpkins. I think.
Spooky pumpkins. I'd have called it pumpkin patch. Spooky pumpkins in light grey. Inga wanted to put it with grey, and we both vetoed her, didn't we, this morning?
Yeah.
She was like, but I don't normally go for grey, but I would for this one. We're like, no. It's
No,
going
you
with
can't have
paprika.
grey.
No. She said, but I like... Well, no, she doesn't really like grey. That was the thing. That was why we were looking at her going,
Yeah.
Inga, what's the matter? Ha-ha! Spooky ghosts on orange with lime. I mean, it sounds delicious, right?
It does actually. Yeah.
Sounds delicious. And if you, you know what we should do when we load these? Lucy, I don't know if Lucy's watching the show this morning, but when you load these, Lucy, could you possibly put on the image as well of which ones of these glow in the dark? Glow in the dark fabric. I mean, it's the dream.
It's such good fun.
It's really good fun. And we've picked out the green that goes around there as well.
You make
which
trick or treat bags with those, couldn't you?
Of course you could. You could make all sorts of goodies
And
with
then
that.
they like take them out and they'll be glowing in the dark as they walk round.
There you go. So we've just picked out the green that's around that little chat there and popped it there. I am really limited on some of these. Really limited. And oh, this one had to be. We've got 5 of these, and that's it. Then it's all gone. I kind of love the
I love purple and orange together.
dairy milk purple,
Yes.
which is what it should be called. Let's be honest.
It is a
Dairy milk
colour.
purple.
It's a known colour.
Yeah. I'm sure I've just, upset all sorts of trademarks and stuff, but there we go. And so you can see these ones, these little chaps, they glow in the dark. And
Well,
we've
if you
picked
can
out the
have-
orange.
Barbie pink. I don't see why you can't have Cadbury purple.
Right,
Exactly.
right. Yes.
It is a shade. I'm sure that it's a well-known colour.
Across the globe.
Yeah.
Across the globe. It's like if I say the Golden Arches, everybody knows that you mean McDonald's. Don't
Yeah.
they? Oh,
It's a
now
well-known
this
trademark.
one, I've got one, Jane, one, just
Aw.
one. It's a lonely little ghost, like Casper. But I've picked out the pink around this one, and it's matched exactly with raspberry. There's just one.
Made for each other.
Right, yes. Yes. We're nearly done, and then Jane will be getting on with her big one.
Yes. Might take us a
Um,
while.
Oh, does it? Are we in for the duration
Yeah, we
today?
could be. You might
Okay.
need to take your lunch.
No, I'd made us a cup of tea before we started. This is Castle Spooky. There are ghosts, there are things that glow, and then you've got your half metre of black to go with that.
It's classy,
Fabulous.
isn't it? That's
It
the
is.
classic
It
Halloween.
is. And then the last one again with one of these. We try where possible. This is how the half metre heavens came about, because often sometimes bolts will run short. So, and when that happens, it means that we have to cancel orders, apologise, and feel generally rubbish for a bit. And I don't really like doing that. It still happens occasionally.
Yes. we do
Occasionally, especially if you buy
sometimes.
like a part bolt, then that can sometimes happen. But the way that we get around that is to generally underload. And when we underload, that means that we will get like the odd half metre thrown back, which is what's happened here. So I've put it with something gorgeous, and you can thank me later. Right, so they are our... You don't have to thank me at all, it's fine. I'm only joking. Right, they are our half metre heavens there. Jane, I will put your beautiful kits there. Malcolm's just realised there are more than 2 people in the room.
And run away.
And run away. And load of scrap bags. They are approximately £1/2, but they're not though, because we weighed them, because we have to weigh everything for postage. Gemma's very meticulous on this. And I heard her say, "Hey Siri, how many grams in £1/2?" It's more. You get more in there. Because I don't think that paper's actually very heavy that
No.
it's wrapped in at all. So on average, anyway, about £1/2 of fabric. We have gone through these. Occasionally they throw up one that's like all white. Not in this batch. I've gone through every single one to check they are all like nice ones.
Yeah.
They're all nice ones.
They tend to be like the salvage edge and a bit. So quite often they're like jelly rolls. But
They
you might have
are,
a bit
aren't
of
they?
salvage in it.
Yeah.
And so you got a good amount of fabric there, and quite often they're like a collection, so
Yes.
they all go together.
It's from where they've been cutting their collections, and it's the bit that's left at the end. Now, the other thing to bear in mind, so, you know, you might get that one, you might get that. It's a lucky dip. You can't send them back because they're a lucky dip. You know, you pays your money, you take your chance, but what you get at the end of it is, like Jane says, basically a jelly roll of Moda fabric. When you bear in mind that jelly rolls are normally tipping over 30 quid, you know, it's all good. And we put them on the show today because, well, two reasons. They arrived yesterday. I'll be honest, yeah, that helped. They were here. And the other reason being, of course, you can just use your jelly rolls to do a log cabin.
You can.
So it felt fitting and right. I'm going to fit off over there and leave Jane to do her thing. And I'll see you in a minute. Go on, Jane. Over to you.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
Oh gosh, it's brightening up now. I came this morning and it was so dull and foggy. I was just like, ooh, it's going to be one of those days again.
Because
yesterday it didn't even stop raining, did it?
What's wrong?
Yeah, you're going to have to stand because there's a cat on your chair.
I know, it's the unwritten rule, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't really turf him off, he's fast asleep. That's you on the floor.
Yeah, okay.
No, you can share. Shares is.
Oh no, this is
the
dodgy
wobbly
chair
that's going to fall down. Right, so we've got two colourways today. We've got the colourway behind me, which is the lovely greys going into the reds, which we've called Fire, because Gemma took one look at it and she says, oh, it looks like a flame.
It does.
And it does a bit, actually, when you look at it. The idea is that it's like an illusion, that it looks like it's going down, like it's a 3D effect. So you've got the three greys and three warm tones, yellow, orange and red, and then you've got the dark colour for your sashing and the binding. So everything for the top and the binding in the kit.
Because a log cabin traditionally was made that the central block of a log cabin, if you're making it traditionally, and I know we're not here, but would be in a warm red or something, you know.
Yes, to signify the heart of the home.
Heart of the home, the half of the home. So I kind of love that we've got that.
Yes.
We've got that look going on here. I could see a lot of these being made for sons going off to university, stuff like this.
Lovely,
it's got that kind of dramatic feel to it.
Yes. Yeah. Nice and dramatic. And then we've got Ocean.
Oh, this is
because we had some beautiful blues and teal, turquoisey batiks in the warehouse, and I was like, "Can I have those?"
And the answer is always yes, Jane. You know that.
Kat
says she thinks it looks like dragon scales.
Oh, yeah.
Not the blue one. Hang on, that one.
Yes.
I mean, Game of Thronesy fans.
Yeah. Well, we did think Fire and Ice at first with the blue.
Very Games of Thrones.
But SJ and I decided that the blues look more oceany, so it's called Ocean instead. Gem will be cross.
I think Gem had to change it.
Yeah.
Oh, morning, Steph.
So you've got these lovely, and we've gone from pale to dark. So hopefully you really will get the illusion of 3D with this one.
Well, we wanted to do that, didn't we? You're going to demo in that colourways today, so that you can really get an idea.
So it is the pattern is big. The pattern is big because I have taken you through the side blocks, these side blocks here, the corners and the top and the bottom. The bottom is different, so it carries it on. So it looks like you've just chopped the block up.
I kind of thought that was all you had done.
But really, you could do that, but really what would happen is you'd end up with a lot of biased edges and waviness.
Yeah.
I've tried to eliminate the biased edges as much as possible. You do get a bit on the top here, but I've tried to work it so that you don't get... You've got some small triangles and really you don't want biased edges on those because they will ripple.
You're very good about that. You're very good about that.
I try.
Oh, Syl's joined us this morning.
But it's a big pattern. It's quite chunky.
It is. As Josh described it as a chunky one.
Chunky one. It's definitely chunky.
So there we go.
So we'll get cracking on because there are, in actual fact, 7 blocks in it because of the corners.
That's ridiculous. It just looks like one.
I know. And sometimes I wonder whether I make it more complicated than it needs to be. But I wanted to be sure, because I try to do my patterns so that anybody trying for the first time to make a quilt wouldn't struggle.
Yes, that is our ethos, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
for everyone.
I think maybe more experienced quilters would look at that and they'd be able to go home and make it just by looking at the main image once you've got the idea of it. But I think if you were trying this for the first time, I'm hoping that if this is going to be your first quilt that you make, I'm taking you through it step by step. So yeah, it is a chunky pattern and there's a lot in it, but I'm hoping that if you didn't have access to this demonstration, you'd still be able to do it, is my aim.
Cool.
So this is the main log cabin. We can show it overhead and then you'll be able to see. And hopefully we have got top of my
look
head.
at that.
You can see that that's how it would look within the quilt. It is a log cabin, but it's what we call a quarter log cabin. So you start in the corner and do the log cabin effect around the edge of it. So it's very straightforward. So we'll do one of these first and then we'll go into each step of the block and we'll see how the time goes. I might just lay them out and show you. We'll see how we get on. And we'll talk about the sashing as well, because I think lining them up, lining the rows up so that you get them so that they follow and look square. There's a little tip I can share with you with that as well. So we'll make the block first. All your instructions tell you how many strips you need and what you need to cut from each strip. I'm just going to put the iron on. So I'm using 2.5 inch strips. That doesn't mean that you have to use 2.5 inch strips. You could use narrower strips or wider strips and make less blocks. It's up to you. You might want to just make one block and make it into a cushion.
I mean, would look fabulous too.
Yeah. We always say, don't we? It's your quilt, you can do it as you wish. So you're going to need the corner square, fabric A, 2.5 inch square. And then we're going to sew a 2.5 inch square of fabric B next to it. Now I'm not sure, I've done these this morning, I just quickly put them together and I'm not sure whether I've said which side. No, it just says to sew them together in pairs.
By the way, your pattern won't be in black and white. It's
No.
just that...
I just asked Natasha to quickly print me one off so that I got it for reference in case I forgot where I was.
Oh, Lisa wants your top again this week.
Oh, did she? Bless her.
Gemma told her, damn, while you take it off. We can't do that sort of shenanigans. Jane needs her clothes. Come on,
clothes,
Lisa.
yeah.
Come on.
So we give that a press, and we're pressing away from the square, the centre square, if you like. It's not the centre; it's on the corner. You need to make sure that every time that your starting square, fabric A square, is on your left-hand side. So you've got your pairs, and you're going to take fabric B, and you're going to place that across the top of the pairs, and you're going to sew that down. And basically, that is the routine. Of placing the fabric around with this log cabin. You're going to go sew it onto the right hand side and then sew it onto the top. So we've now got a 4.5 inch square. So the next strip, fabric C, goes round on the right hand side. And where I said on the log cabin, this is a curved log cabin, and I said you just remember that you're covering 2 seams every time. Well, this one, you're always covering 1 seam. If you haven't got a seam to cover, you know you're adding it to the wrong side. But if you've cut your pieces to the sizes I've said, they won't fit anywhere else really.
Jane, Gemma says that there's no losing your specs today. Have we
No.
got any of those left? Because I could do with some
They're
now.
really handy.
They are really handy. Jane's got our magnetic not Specsavers, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. They've got a magnet on the other side, so,
So it
there's
doesn't
no
wreck your
pin that's going to
clothes.
wreck your clothes, and it's a really strong magnet.
I've forgotten we had them, and I need one now because
And I mean, this is quite a lightweight
Yeah.
top, but it doesn't drag it too much, and it really is. You're never going to lose your. And I found with my spectacles, I'm going to have to go and get a new pair because I whack them on the top of my head, and it stretches them, and it's weakened the arm on the one side, so that's quite an expensive thing to happen. So
Jane.
using the Specsave thingy.
I don't know if it's called Specsave. I don't know if you can use it. I don't know.
What's
don't
it
know.
called? Spec holder, maybe. I don't
Morning,
know.
Jess. I'm sure that we can find them and pop them in the show, or just save me one, at least.
I quite often forget that I've got it, and I found it this morning. And I thought, oh, I'm going to take that because, as I say, my glasses are in a little bit of a delicate state, so I want to be. So we're going again now with fabric D. We're going on the right hand side. I've got one seam that I'm covering. It would fit on that side, but it wouldn't be the end of the world if you did get it muddled up. It's not going to, but it will.
But you're gonna get
you'd
into
lose
the flow, aren't
yeah.
you, Jane?
And the thing is, you can chain piece this. So, you can do all of your A and B squares, chain piece them.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to, there's 18 of the main block, but you're going to have to make 20 up to this point.
Oh, so you will get into the flow.
So once you've got 20 done of those, you take 2 away and you put them to the one side, and that will become relevant in a moment. It's all in the instructions. And we can just press that away, and I'll finger press while we're doing. We'll just quickly get that. You get the idea. It's fabric D is the next round. So each colour
You just add on.
just goes round on the right hand side and then on the top.
Gemma's busily telling me, she's like, Natasha, you've got a spec mate. You just
Spec
need to
mate, that's
find
what they're
it.
called, aren't they?
Yeah. And she said
Yes.
they're already in today's collection. There we go.
Gemma's already on it.
Yeah, she's on it.
She
this
saw me
morning.
this morning. She saw me with it. She must have just said, "Oh, well, I'll get those on the thing," because I was worrying about them yesterday. My glasses. It's like, these are going to fall apart.
Now, I do have a pair somewhere, but you know what it is? I was given it by our supplier
Yes.
before I wore glasses. So I put it somewhere safe.
And now you really need it.
Yeah. See. For sure.
So we've got the next round. This is fabric E that's going on there.
This is something for your stripology, isn't it? If you've got your
If
stripology
you've got your
ruler,
stripology ruler,
whip
you'll
it
get
out.
these. You'll get these
stripping, ladies.
cut really quickly. If you've got a jelly roll, you could do this pattern. Whether you would get all of the blocks out of the same colourways, but when you've got a jelly roll, because they're all similar shades, aren't they? You could create something quite exciting.
Of course you could. Or just completely random.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Make
the
it
other
look
thing.
quite scrappy and it would look completely different.
Yep. I used to love, when I first got my stripology ruler, I used to just cut all of my scraps into strips.
Yeah.
Sew them end on end, and then just start a jelly roll, not a jelly roll, a log cabin, and just keep going round and round and round and round and round.
You can make such, just keep going.
But they're really scrappy, but they're really sweet because you find happy accidents as the fabric falls.
Yeah. Just go randomly.
And that was how I learnt to sew in a straight line.
Yes, it's a good way of teaching yourself, particularly as the lines get longer.
morning, Judith and Danny. Yeah, you see, Myra keeps her glasses on her head as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the normal place, isn't it, really?
I think it's a convenient thing to do, isn't it? You know, just to slip them up onto your head after you've had them on your face. Right, so there you go. That's the block made, and that's quite straightforward and quite simple to do.
Perfect.
So once you've made those blocks, we're going to then make, let me just check my instructions. We go on to block 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now block 2 is, and I said to you, when you should get to ABC and you put 2 away, we're going to make the blocks that go at the top here.
Oh, hang on, that was really bad timing for
Oh,
me.
sorry.
Yeah, there, yeah.
We're going to make these blocks here. So these are the top edge blocks. So what you will have is you'll have your 2, you're going to make 2 of these. I'm only going to make 1. You're going to have that middle part, so A, B, C. In the instructions they say make 20, put 2 to one side once you get to row C. So for block 2, you take those 2 blocks and you're going to take your fabric D, and it's I think there's 6.5, yeah, 6.5 inch strips, and you're going to sew 1 to that side and 1 to that side, and you look at it and you think, she's made a mistake here because they don't meet in the middle.
Oh,
but if you think about it, they're going to go that way, and we're going to trim across the top.
Oh, so don't waste your fabric,
to make
basically.
that edge. So yeah, so you're not going to, you know, cut your fabric and have all these leftover bits. You're going to have some little scraps, but not too much.
We can cope with that. Oh, Lo says she's in and out today. She's got shows next week and she's not sure that she wants them. That's her hypno show. How long's it been since you did a hypno show, Lo?
I'm going to say I can't imagine that she's been able to do it during
No, I wouldn't have
restrictions, but
who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
So these 2 strips are going to cross over just 1/4 inch because that's the seam allowance.
Right.
So when you're trimming it, and we'll talk about that in a minute, we're just going to trim it so it's 1/4 inch above the point of row C, or round 3, whichever way you want to. So you've got those 2 pieces on, and then you want to put fabric E on. Now these are smaller again, which sort of goes against what you're expecting when you're doing the log cabin. And what we're doing is we're lining up this edge here and this edge here. We're making sort of a V shape because, as I say, this is the one that goes in the top corner. So we're lining it up with this straight edge here and sewing that down.
Elizabeth says that for her last eye test, the chap came to her home and he put his board on a chair away from me, and I said in a very firm voice, "You're going to have to move that closer." And he did. I think if you say it with enough gusto, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good, having them come to the house. That's been a good thing then, isn't it? Because I've had letters from my optician saying, "We're open now, it's safe, you can come."
Yeah. Yeah, I went to the one in the village rather than like the big one.
Yeah.
And they were ever so sweet.
I think the smaller independent ones have been a bit more sort of on it, haven't they, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is fabric F, and that again, we're lining it up with the bottom edges, bottom and side. If you look at your block that way, it's the side and the bottom edge.
You're right, Jane. September 2019 was Lo's last show.
Gosh.
So, you know, just got to get back out there, Lo. You'll be fine. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You'll have a great time.
It probably a little bit nerve-wracking, isn't it, when you start back for the first time, but
Yeah, it's like any going back to work,
Yeah.
and it feels a bit weird.
the Stereophonics had done a live sort of like well, a concert, but just a small venue with, I think 50 people. Radio 2 had put it on, and they were talking to the lead singers and the band before the concert. And he said, you know, it's really nerve-wracking because we haven't done anything for like nearly 2 years. And you think, oh, will I remember the songs? Will I know what I've got to play?
Well, I mean, to be fair, they wrote them.
Yes.
So, you know, you should. If anybody should.
So this is block 2. So it's like that if you're looking at it with your fabric A on your left-hand side. But we're now going to trim that because we want to make it level. And this, you are going to have biased edges on this, but actually, you know, give your fabric a good treatment with your flatter or your best press or whatever you use, and you're going to line it up so it's a quarter of an inch above that point there, which is where the two fabric Ds join. Now what will happen is your quarter of an inch mark will be on the point of these squares here. So you're in effect, you're just cutting off the ear of the triangle at the same time. So you've got a quarter of an inch mark there and a quarter of an inch mark there, and the quarter of an inch is above the where fabric C makes the square. So that's your seam allowance.
Fabulous. Leslie, good morning. She says, hi Natasha and Jane, I'm a new customer and enjoying your show. Well, that's good. Where do I find the half-yard bundles that you showed this morning? So the half metre heavens, Leslie, they go live on our website, natashamakes.com, all the W's, at midnight tonight. We give you a sneaky peek on the show, just so that you know what's coming up. But they go live at midnight tonight, and then they're on the website. So you can find... there are some that are left over from previous weeks that are already on our website, and if you're new, then you know, have a good rifle through because we've got beautiful ones there. But do go and enjoy. But these ones that you saw on the show today, they will go live at midnight tonight. They get all scheduled to go live, and everybody knows. So if there's one that you really, really want, then you just zip it and grab it. And Lo says that she's not sure if she wants to be in a room with 3,000 students. Now you see that applied to me before COVID. Yes, let alone after. Yeah. There's a reason I don't teach anymore.
So we've got fabric, we're going to do block 3 now. Now block 3 is the one that goes at the bottom.
Oh, hang on, there we go.
So if we go up here.
No, come on, switch, there we are.
So that's block 3. So you can see really it's the top 3 colours of the block. So it's D, E and F on there. Now in the, you know, not wanting to have too many biased edges, we're going to start with a 5 1/4 inch square, which we're going to cut into 4 triangles across the 2 diagonals. You're only going to need 2 of them, but it's because I wanted the bottom edge of the triangle to have a straight edge, which is why I've cut it into 4. So you can see there, the straight edge of the square is going to be here on the bottom edge of my triangle.
Right, gotcha.
So you're going to make 2 of these blocks, so 2 of those triangles will go into your stash for
other usages.
Fabulous. And again, we're going to have 2 longer pieces, and this time we're lining up the fabric with the edge of the triangle. So sort of making it, if you hold your triangle so it's a right angle, you're lining up the edge of fabric F, the short edge, with that edge there, because it's going that way, and we'll be trimming that bit off. It's sort of trying to visualise how the block lies within the pattern. I think that's the, when you're first starting, it looks a bit strange. You can't always visualise how it sits within the pattern.
Sure.
So
but everybody will have read through their pattern thoroughly,
yes,
Jane,
read it
before
through.
they even
I
start.
do say,
you know,
we'll
like the exam papers.
We'll say, like we say with Lisa says with hers. Make yourself a cuppa.
Yeah.
And give it a good read through first.
You know I am the worst at doing that, don't you?
Yeah, well, I'm too excited and I just want to get on. And then I'm like halfway through and I'm thinking, hang on, what?
I do get berated, and Jane will be like, "What?" But not Jane, Lisa. But I did you not read it through, Natasha? No, you really didn't. Soz.
No, I just wanted to make it.
Absolutely not.
So again, we're pressing that away from the triangle this time. You will get a little bit of overhang there.
Oh.
And then we go with the next one, and again we're lining it up with the edge there. You may want to pin these as you go. You know, if you want to pin it in place before you start sewing, then that's perfectly fine. Gives you a good basis to work from. And then the last one on there. So there's just 3 fabrics in block 3, because it's what is basically the top half of the block. Just going to give that a press. And what we'll do then with this one is we line it up with the edge, the bottom edge of the triangle.
Right.
And it should come to the corner of your strip at the top. You might have to just manoeuvre it slightly, but what you can do to make sure you are straight, and again it helps if you press it. I've pressed this underneath, but if you press it towards the strip, it lies flatter.
Right, okay.
And that does help. I think I've got my strip muddled up there. I've used the wrong size strip, which is why that's coming out longer. We line it up there, and we've got the 45-degree line here, so I can line that up with my seam edge as well. Just making sure that's straight.
I can feel the concentration, Jane.
There we go. And we can chip that off there. So that is that block that will then sit in the bottom of the pattern, so it goes along like so. So that's block 3. So we've got 1, 2 and 3. So block 4 and block 5 are very similar. These are the side blocks. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the triangle for fabric A. I just can't remember the size of it. It's a 3 1/4, and again we're going to cut that into 4 to make 4 triangles, so we've got that straight edge on the outside.
Do you know, I hadn't thought, until Jenny Raymond came in and did our guest takeover day, I hadn't thought about the ramifications of having a bias on the wrong bit.
Yes.
And I know that
it's just a little subtle thing,
yeah,
but it can make such a big difference.
It really does. It really does.
So we've got that straight edge now, and we're putting it down so that it's on our left-hand side, and the long edge is going from bottom left to top right. And we're going to place fabric B against that short side, lining up the bottom edges again. So we're just going to sew that onto there. And we're going to press that, and I'm pressing it so that the strip lies flat. So I'm pressing the triangle up and away from it, This will help you when you're coming to cut it. You'll see it lying flatter. We take fabric C strip and we're placing that so that we're keeping this bottom edge flat. It looks strange, but when you cut it, it'll make sense. It's just to keep the edges together. Because I thought, oh well, you could just make a block and then you could cut it in half, but actually that doesn't take into account your seam allowance.
Oh, of course.
So you'd lose some of it in your seam allowance. So this takes into account for the seam allowance, and then we're placing the next block, piece D, on there, and again we're lining it up with that bottom edge across there.
It's coming together a treat, isn't it? I mean, this is another one where prior and proper preparation for performance, because you'll have chopped all these strips, won't you?
Yeah, and I think if you cut everything and cut it all the sizes, and label each piece so you know exactly which strip is what, label it as A, B, C, and have the length as well. Which you did to hand. Well, I think with that one, I think I've just used the wrong. You know, I said to you, I've lost 2 of my 12.5-inch strips.
Oh, did you put them around the wrong way?
And I think that's what I used there when I shouldn't have used those.
Jane, it was early.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give yourself a hard time.
It's what happens. It's what happens. And then we're going with E on there. And again, it looks like a bar graph, doesn't it? When you used to do at school with I used to love doing bar graphs in maths.
Did you?
Yes, I loved that.
Were you a geeky bar graph girl?
Oh, I loved graphs. I love graphs. I still love them now.
Yeah. I was made to do an entire GCSE in statistics.
Oh.
So yeah, you see, you say that like, oh,
no, I don't know that I would
there. I have never used it. I have to say, at no point have I gone, oh. Let's whip out the bar graph.
It's not something that you use on a daily basis, is it really?
I mean, to be fair, maybe I did use it when I used to teach maths a bit.
Yeah.
But, you know.
As a maths teacher, yes.
As a maths teacher, yeah, no, I think that's
But I think in your daily life,
use it.
It's not really something that you use that, you know, you don't think, oh, well, I'll just make a bar graph of my shopping today.
Yes. As we, you know, plot out who's going to have what biscuits,
yeah.
You know.
My website the analytics in the background, they used to produce me a bar graph and a pie chart to show me the percentage of new viewers and how many had then gone on to bar. And I used to think, this looks really good. I don't really understand it, but it looks good. So you'll have a block that looks like that, and again we're going to trim that level with the edge of the triangle, and again you've got your 45-degree line which you can line up with one of your seams, and it should come to the point of your strip at the bottom there. So the edge of the triangle up here all the way down so that your ruler is then at the corner of that bottom strip. So you're not having too much wastage. You've got all these pretty bunting type triangles that you could maybe use for something at some point, whether you would want to or not, I don't know. So you'll have block 4, which goes, I'm trying to think how we can describe it. If we say that the fabric A is on the left and it goes up to the right, the highest point is on the right hand side, and that will fit in on that side, and then block 5 is the reverse. So you're starting with your fabric A on the right hand side and working your way up. Have I got the right? It's this side here. The wrong piece. I'm trying to say the wrong block together.
I am loving this blue.
It's really gorgeous, isn't it?
Really
but then
gorgeous.
We are a bit tealy, turquoisey people, aren't we?
Yeah. It's tealy good.
It's tealy good.
Oh no, sorry. Sorry, I'll get back in my box.
So block 5 is constructed exactly the same way as block 4, but as I say, we start on the right hand side and work across to the left, because we want, again, I had to think about it, you want that triangle at the bottom. If you think, oh, I'm going to just make a load of these, and then when you turn that round, your triangle's in the front.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
how
it's a
I
different look. Jane, do we have much of the fabric left over for whoops?
I think we do have some. I think there's I think it's fabric D. It might be fabric D or it might be fabric C. Gemma will know. We're a bit short.
Gemma knows.
We're a little bit short on that one, but I think the others we've got some of.
These batiks took a very long time to come in.
Yes.
And I don't know that they got their full amount, because
yeah, I think, you know,
we've allocated a lot and we do have a lot put aside for us. I just love them though.
They're just
the
gorgeous.
The thing with a batik is they're really nice to use. The texture is slightly different until it's washed.
Yeah.
Just because of the dyeing process. And what I would really recommend as well is the first time you wash it, put a colour catcher in, because there might be,
definitely.
because of the way they're manufactured and created and that dyeing process. Obviously, every inch of a batik is completely unique.
Yeah.
But do make sure that you just throw in a colour catcher just in case there's any stray bits of dye.
Yeah, and you might find that there's bits of wax on it as well.
Yeah.
Because you might look at it and you think, oh, there's a grubbly mark on there, but if you just rub your nail on it, it'll come off. But yeah, I love batiks because for that reason, that there's always a little bit, it's never quite the same, whichever piece you cut.
Yeah, and the reason that we use them a lot for things like applique is because of the process. They kind of feel a bit of a tighter weave to work
yes, they've
with.
they've got a tighter base cloth, haven't they?
Yeah.
So they fray less.
Exactly that, which makes them perfect for things like the Oriental Baltimore and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Always perfect. And we love that lots.
Really great to work with. So
I'll be honest, Jen, I used to underestimate batik.
I think some people do. I think some people are a bit like, not sure. But they work well with patterned fabrics as well, with the prints, because again, well, we've done it, haven't we, ourselves? We've taken a batik and it's brought all the colours in, even when you weren't expecting it. You know, it's got colours in it that you don't always necessarily see first time. You know, like this one here that we've used in fabric D, there's a green and there's even orange and pinks in here.
There's all sorts.
There's all sorts of colours when you start looking at it.
It's like a layer of coral, isn't it, in a way?
So you can see here that this block 5 is just the mirror image, really, of block 4. And so we're doing exactly the same thing. We're just going to line it up with the triangle at the bottom and going for the point of the edge there. You could get the 45-degree line to line up. You just need to manipulate it slightly, because when you iron it, it can move. And this is why I say, you know, best press as much as you can, because you are going to have some biased edges. Can't be helped. I couldn't think of a way of cutting this other than cutting it on the bias to start with, which means this great big long edge here is going to be biased, which would cause you all sorts of problems.
You'd be all over the shop.
You'd be all over the shop. So there you can see that's block 5 rather, sorry.
Why have I got Game of Thrones?
Well, it's because we were like fire and ice, weren't we? Right, block 6 is the same, and again, I've done 6A and 6B. They're the corners here. They're the corners of the quilt. And again, to get the colour going the same way, the principle is the same, but you have to have them in mirror images because you want the opposite way round. I'm just going to show you one corner for now. When you cut these squares into 4, you need 2 squares cut into 4, so you'll have 8 triangles and you need 6 of them. So don't think after you've made your 6 blocks here that you don't need the triangles, you're going to use them. So this is, let me look, have I got the right one? Block 5, yes. We've got A, B, there we go. So we're going to, again, we've got the straight edge there, we're going to sew or triangle. If I do it this side, what do I want? I want it that way. Yeah, that corner. So on one, I'm starting with this triangle on the left. For the other, you'll start with it on the right. It's in the instructions which way round. And again, we're going to sew the triangle to the strip, lining up the straight edges at the bottom. And then you're going to sew fabric B to the right hand side of that strip. Again, lining up those bottom edges. I think this iron has enough of being on and then decide it's going to switch itself
It has
off.
opinions, Jane.
Yeah,
It
and
has
lets you know.
opinions.
It says, I've been on long enough now, I'm just going to switch myself off. I'm just letting you know. Which is quite good if you're in the room with it, because she's like, I'm going to switch that off.
But if you're trying to do a show, quite frankly, it just keeps interrupting.
So we've got A, B, C, and we're going to trim that now into the triangle, the same way as we did for block 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Lining up the edges, just trimming that off. Just wondering whether I just might have just wobbled my triangle slightly, so I'm not.
Oh, Jane,
You can't
wobbling
do
your
that
triangles
wobbling
at this
triangle.
time of day.
Yeah.
What you doing?
Just want to line that up. I'm lining it up with the 45-degree line on the mat, actually, so that I can get a straight line.
Oh, yeah, no, I see. Yeah.
Just want to manipulate that slightly, so because I want to be in the corner of that strip there.
Right.
And I don't know if you can see, but I've just got a little bit of a gap there. That's fine. It's less than even 1/8 of an inch. So it'll go into the seam allowance. And when I line it up with the sashing, I'll be able to line that up. So sometimes you'll find that it hasn't quite, it may have stretched just slightly. But as long as you get that shape, you're fine. So we've got that shape. And then with fabric F, we've got a square and we're going to cut that into 4 triangles again. And again, we'll only use 2 of these, so, but it's that straight edge that I wanted. And we're now putting that on this side, and we're going to put fabric E against that edge. So we're going to sew that down there. These are the bottom corners, these are the top 2 corners, sorry. When you're doing it with the fire version, you'll have a red-orange side and then the grey side, which is quite easy to see which side's which. So you just have to follow the letters for the... And what I would suggest in your pattern is, if you're having the ocean version, is just take a snip of each fabric and put it, either pin it or glue it next to your fabric, so you know which fabric is A and B and C, because it's quite easy to lose track, particularly with batiks, because some of them are quite similar. You know, B and E and C from a distance look quite similar, but they're actually a shade difference.
All the letters, Jane.
All the letters. So we're just going to trim that into a triangle again. Again, lining up the edge of the triangle and lining the ruler up with the point so that it comes to the top corner of that square there. And then I'll just give that a press. Should have pressed it before I cut it really. We're going to join that together to make that triangle. So again, we'll line up those edges there, place those together, and just sew down that long edge. So you're joining C and D together, keeping the log, the pattern of the log cabin. And you'll press that one way or the other, it doesn't really matter, whichever way you feel. And that will sit in the corner of there against you, that's your top corner. So you can see it's keeping the pattern of the blocks as you go.
Yeah.
So the final block is block 7. You'll make a reverse of that, so you'll start with fabric F in this corner and do it the opposite way for the opposite corner, because if I try and put that in that corner, you can see it doesn't follow the pattern.
No.
It's all explained in the instructions. And then block 7 is your final block, and this time we've got a 4 7/8 inch square, because we want a half square triangle, not a corner square triangle, because I want to have the 2 straight sides on the outside edge. So you will need both of those triangles because you're going to make 2 of those. Now this one is slightly trickier in so much as you have to find the middle, because you're going to put that triangle onto there, which you can see is bigger.
Yeah.
But we've got to have those trimmed edges. I just want to make sure that I've got the right size. 8.5. Yeah, it is. It is. It's okay. It's good. And that was for. Yeah, that's fine. So you find the halfway point in your triangle, just by folding it in half along that long edge, and just finger press it down so you get a crease in it. You can see the crease there. And then do the same with your fabric E strip, and just press that. And I would get a crease in that all the way across, and there's a reason for that. So you've got the crease there. Then lay the creases on top of each other, and then you'll know that your triangle is in the middle of that strip. And then we're going to press that away, the triangle. And then we're going to do the same with our fabric D F strip. And again, we'll find the middle of that. Just finger press it. And because we've got that crease down the middle of that one, we can line it up, those creases together, place them right sides together, creases on top of each other, and then you can just sew that strip down. And we'll press that up and away.
Oh, Jane, this is looking fabulous.
I'm actually going to change the way I'm pressing it. I'm going to press it towards the triangle, and I'll just take that to the iron and press that down. Just because when you come to trim it, it will trim better if the seams are facing the triangle, if they're all facing flat rather than upwards. And then we're going to trim this level with the edge. And I think I've used the wrong size triangle here, because I'm looking at this and it's like, that doesn't fit. And I know that it does because I made it before and it was right.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to, your triangle will fit into the bottom of there.
So is this, hang on, is this too big?
Yeah, my triangle that I started with, I think, is too big. Either that or I've cut my strips too short, but I don't think I have. Yeah, you can see on the picture the triangle's a lot smaller. So I'm just trimming this down. You won't have to, it'll fit.
Unless you've done it like Jane, in which case you will.
And then you'll trim this side as well. And this is why it's better to have your seams facing the triangle so that it sits nicely.
That's going to look so good.
So just line up that on there. There we go. So that's the corner which would fit like that to keep the colour theme going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
but that's
those
on
corners,
the bottom line, isn't it?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
made the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have that. They're made the same way because you can flip these ones round. They all go either side. It doesn't matter. It looks the same. So that would be your bottom edge. So we're going to do the sashing now. And for each of your big blocks, you need to sash all of them on the left-hand side with your, find the strips. Are these them? Yes, they are. They've got a pin in them. 12.5-inch strips. So all of the blocks need to have a 12.5-inch piece sewn on to the right-hand side with your fabric A square in the bottom left-hand corner. So you'll do that on all of your blocks. And again, you can chain piece that. Just do this one. Done those two. Right, so I should have now. I need.
What are you doing, Jen? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Just getting some more. That's it. I've got them. That's fine. So you will have all of your blocks, all 18 of them, with a strip sewn to the left-hand side of the block as you look at it with the fabric A square in the bottom bottom left-hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's lots of lefts and rights. And then you need to take 6 of those blocks and you need to put a 12.5-inch strip on the right-hand side as well.
Right.
So on the side against the square. And I'm just going to do it with 2 of the blocks so I can just show you how 2 rows will go together. So we can get a corner done so you can see the principle of it. Do that on 2 of them.
Have you now got a favourite out of the blue or the fire? Ocean or fire?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
I'm very much a turquoisey person, but it's hard to decide really. Because I love that pop of red in the fire one. I think it's really impactful. If that's a word.
Yeah, no, I'll take that. I'll take that word for sure. It's a word, it works.
It's a word and it works. Right. So you will have 6 of these blocks that have got your sashing strip, your sashing fabric G on 2 sides. On 2 of these blocks, you're now going to need to put a 16.5-inch strip. You're going to put one across the top of one of the blocks, and then on the other block, you're going to put it across the bottom.
Right, gotcha.
It's all in the instructions, but for now, we're just going to do the top corner, so we're going to put ours across the top.
Frames it really nicely, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It gives it a really lovely finish. So I'm just going to line that up and we'll just sew that on. And again, at this stage, you might feel that you want to pin because you're now sewing longer pieces together. So we've got that, we're going to press that strip up and away from there. Now, that's the top corner. The next row,
Oh, look at that.
I am going to sew these 2 strips together to make row 2.
Yeah.
So I am in effect sewing it to the sashing side. So you've got the one with the 2 on, and then you've put 2 ones next to it. So I'm going to sew those into a pair. And then you always start your rows with one of the blocks with 2 strips on. And then you'll know that you've got everything in the right order.
It's funny, isn't it? I was looking at that when you were doing it, I forgot that there was a darker one to add.
Yes.
And it just frames it,
It
doesn't
really
it,
frames it and helps with that illusion of depth of
but
the
it's
3D
got that
effect.
blue in it. It's got that
Yes.
really deep blue in there.
It's it's a nice one. You will do 2 rows of 3 blocks sewn together. And you will do 2 rows with 5 blocks sewn together for the whole quilt. So
Whoa, look at that!
you've got that row there. So that's row 1, that's row 2 in effect. Now, I'm just going to put that to one side for a moment and we'll concentrate on this corner. So we need to now sew block 6A to the top of this. And again, we've got this, hang on, that doesn't fit. It's fine because we're going to trim it away in the corners.
Okay, cool, yeah.
So I'm just going to give that a bit of a better press so that it lies flatter. And again, we can find the middle. We can find the middle of this block by folding it in half.
That old tried and tested routine,
Pinch
eh?
that bit there. So we've got the crease. And then we've got a seam here in the middle, so we can just line that seam up with that crease. And I am going to just pin that in place because it would be so easy to take it to the machine and for it to move. So we pin that down and we just sew that on.
Oh, Susie says these colours remind me of the sea imbued in Cornwall.
Yes, a lovely rich deepness.
Which is where I will be next week. Oh, lovely. So I'll let you know. I'll let you know if it's still looking like that.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. I think the weather's going to be okay.
I think we're going to have a lovely time.
I'm going to tell myself that.
We're not at all envious of you going away.
No. No.
You know, the shenanigator will be up to no good while you're away.
Shenanigator.
It's like,
she's up to no good even when I'm here.
yes, exactly.
She doesn't need to
So-
wait until my back's turned.
Exactly. So we place that one on the top there. So that's in the corner. And then we've got our, that's the bottom block. I have to remember this now because of the top block there. We're going to put that onto, what is it in effect, the right-hand side. And
Gotcha.
we're lining up the bottom edges. So we're lining up the squares. So you've got fabrique square there, fabrique square. So we're lining that up there.
Lo says, jam on top. Well, you know, it's tricky because where we're staying is Devon, but Bude is technically Cornwall.
Ooh.
So, you know, what happens if you just mush your jam and your
cream
together and to hell with it? Susie says the weather looks fab. If you need a walking guide or childminder, happy to oblige. Well, you see, thanks, Susie. I've got it covered. I'm going with a few friends.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Taking
Lo, it's not tricky, it's blooming jam on top. All right, Lo. All right, back in your box. Crikey, we've hit a little
she
nerve
obviously
there,
feels
haven't
quite
we?
strongly about that one.
Very strongly about it. I mean, to be fair, yeah, I kind of use the cream a bit like butter, so I'm with you. I do put the jam on top. It's
Yeah.
all right.
So you can see there, I don't know if you can see it, but you get this idea that the line then will come straight across and line that up. So on the right hand side, we need to get the right one.
Oh,
We
Claire,
need to
cream
put-
or jam, doesn't matter, it all ends up the same way. You can't say that there. That doesn't
It's
work.
very important there.
Very important.
So we want the fabric, it's block 4 that goes on the left hand side of this block now, again with that fabrique triangle on the left. So we've got them in a row and you're lining it up with that bottom edge. Let's sew that down.
Oh, here we go. We're getting an update here. So we've got, what have we got? We've got Lisa who's helping her daughter pack for uni. She doesn't know whether to laugh or cry.
Yeah.
I thought your demo was great, Jane.
Yeah, well, I feel that way about my demos sometimes.
But I think it's more to do with her daughter going off to uni, to
Yeah.
be fair. And Lo says, if any of your children are at Northumbria or Teesside, that's where she is next week. Yeah.
Mm.
You know, and you just, oh, I think we need to witness one of Lo's shows.
I think it would be fabulous.
She's going to do it when we do our retreat, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know
So
if she
we
knows
just
that.
need now to trim off those corners
Look at that.
to make that level, and it really is a case of lining up your triangles and trimming it off. Now, I think I've gone slightly awry with my measurements, but I'm not going to worry too much because this is where the binding edge is going to go. So if you trim some off to make it square and you've got 1/4 inch, you know, that's going to be okay. Or you can just sort of fudge it and make it look square like
Okay.
that. But this side works perfectly. Look, that lines up brilliantly.
But do you know what, Jane? The thing is that this might happen to people. Like,
Yeah.
this is a thing that happens, clearly, because it's happening. So
And if you want to leave it on until you've quilted it and then trim it off,
do
you
that
can do
too.
it that way.
Oh, but look at it.
So that's your corner. Now what you'll do next is you've got width of fabric strip of fabric G, and you need to sew that on.
Whoa! Oh, so you get all the fiddly stuff done, and then you just
Yeah.
crack on with a big
Now-
wodge of it.
You sew that on. Sorry, I'll get this round the right way. You sew that on to the top of, making sure that you've got your squares at the bottom. You're going to sew that on to the top of the 3 blocks that you've sewn together. and it should line up edge to edge. Might be a little bit of an overhang, but you do that. We'll quickly get that on, and then I'll get the edges on, and then we can get. I just want to show you how to line it up so that you get your blocks together, so they go straight. Because it's quite easy to just think, all right, I'll just slam that together now and sew the rows together, but you might just be out of fraction, and then it doesn't give you the visual. So it's quite a handy tip to show you how to get the sashing lined up.
It's growing quite quickly, this actually, isn't it?
It does grow quickly, yeah. It's quite interesting. As I say, when you've got row 5, 3 and 4 to sew together, because they're 5 strips, you're going to have 2 long strips to sew at the top and bottom, and then a very long strip to sew in between. You'll join your strips together, obviously, the same way as you would join your binding strips.
Jane, this looked like it was going to be such a easy make. I'm glad that you've really, really broken it down, because I did think that you're just going to chop it and...
Yeah. I thought that when I was looking at the design of it, I thought, oh yeah, and you can just chop the corners. And then when I really looked at it, because the log cabin illusion quilt is out there, you know, it's not my design, the design is out there. I've just broken it down and written the instructions for it.
Yeah, but you see, if you were tackling that as a newbie,
yes,
you
might think
come unstuck.
Yeah, you might think that all you needed to do is cut your blocks, and actually, then it wouldn't work, and you'd be disheartened, and that's not what we want to. That's not where we want you to be when you're doing your first patchwork quilt. We want you to just love it and enjoy making it. So once you've got that strip on, you will add in your corner pieces. So you're going to need to have, you would need to have another block 4. So you'd have a block 4 sewn onto the bottom of there. Again, you're going to have that overhang, and you would have a block 5 sewn onto this end. And I'm just going to pin that for now, because for the purposes of me showing you how to line it up, it doesn't matter that that's not sewn on. So you are now going to need to join these 2 blocks together. When you come to do your bottom corner will be like that. You will have a block 5 on, and your bottom block, this one, like we did the top corner. You'd have a bottom block there, and you'd have this corner on there, and obviously your block will be facing the other way. The square will be down here, and your triangle will be down here for the bottom corner. But it's the same as the top corner, but slightly different, and it's all in the instructions, so we don't have to worry. So we need to now, and for this block it's not too difficult to see, we need to line these sashing strips up so that they line up straight. So visually, when you put your quilt together,
Wow, look at it.
you get those lined up and you can see them.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it's not as easy as just lining up edges and putting it together. So what I do is I take sew line pencil or a white chalk marker, use this one, and I take my ruler and I mark on the seam allowance of the sashing strip here. So I line my ruler up with the seam line of the sashing that's running vertically, and just mark in the seam line, seam allowance of the horizontal strip where those goes. And if you want to be doubly accurate, you can make sure your line is matched up with your horizontal line on your ruler is matched up with your seam line and the edge of your ruler. So I mark those there and there, and I'll do it again on this side. Just pull that so it's straight. So I've got a visual now of where that sashing strip sits. So when I put this piece right sides together, I can place my pin into my seam allowance there where the stitching is, and then line it up with that marker that I've just made in there. And the same on that side. There's my seam allowance there, and there's my mark, and they sit on top of each other. And again on here, I've got my seam allowance here, and that sits on the mark there. And again on this side, there's the seam allowance, my line of stitching, and there's the mark, and I can just line those up.
Perfect.
Together. And then you can pin the rest of it down as you need to sew it. And we'll just quickly get that sewn on so that you can see how that's gone together. And you will do that with row 3 and row 4 to line those up, and then when you join, because you do your 2 corners, you do your top right left hand corner, your bottom right hand corner, and then you do your middle 2 strips together, and then you join those on. And so doing that process, it makes it quite easy to make sure everything is lined up then. So it all, because visually, if it was slightly out, your eye would see that straight away if it wasn't quite lined up.
Oh, you would. I mean, it would shout at you, wouldn't it? Oh, it's coming together, it's coming together,
It's coming together.
Jane, it's cold. When did it get cold? I'm cold.
It's gone really autumnal, hasn't it, today?
I'm actually sitting under a quilt. I was looking around going,
Yeah,
I'm cold.
it's really handy having it on your
I'm surrounded by quilts.
Just put one round your shoulder.
Put one on.
Just take those pins out. I'm going to sneeze.
Oh, steady.
Oh, excuse me.
That's like the most genteel sneeze I've ever seen.
Like a cat sneeze, isn't it?
My friend Max does a little yip at the end of every sneeze. It's really, I don't even know if she knows that she does it, but she's sort of, achoo, at the end of it, you sort of look and go, what?
Lovely.
Every single time. It's hilarious.
Yeah, so I think the key to this quilt is organisation. Make sure you've got everything labelled, you know exactly which strip is what, and what size each triangle is and where it's going. And again, when you get your rows together, make sure you label it's your top corner and which one's your bottom corner, because if you sew your bottom one to the top, it's all going to be wrong and you have to unpick it, and it's just, you know, it's all those things that
You're
happen.
going to love making this quilt.
Yeah, you'll really enjoy it.
You will, because it'll look like this.
So
Look
there you
at
go,
that.
and you can see by doing that, My sashing this way is lined up, and so visually it gives you that straight line. And that really does give you an illusion of whoosh, like Alice down the rabbit hole, isn't it? And when, again, you come and you'll just trim those corners, those edges off, level with the edge of your quilt. So yeah, that's a whistle-stop tour of the pattern. Like we've always said before, if you get stuck or you're not sure about something, we are available to answer queries through our...
And general handhold.
Yeah. You know, don't worry if it doesn't quite make sense to you. That doesn't mean that it's your problem. It might be mine. I might have written it, you know.
We always proofread, don't we? We do always proofread, but occasionally something will slip through. But I don't think that this will be a problem. I think
you'll enjoy making it. That's the main thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not a quick quilt. The blocks go together quickly, but all of the other bits of it, you know, you need to take your time and think about what you're doing. And enjoy the process, I think, more than anything. Yeah, it's not difficult, but there's a lot of it.
Beautiful. But you don't have to make it as big.
No, you don't.
You could make it smaller should you wish.
You could make the actual block smaller by using 1.5 inch strips instead of 2. Or you could make less blocks. You know, there's nothing to stop you just having, stopping at this corner here. So you'd have, just one row and then having your corner there and your side pieces and then a bottom piece. So you'd only have one full block in the middle. So you'd only have to make 5 blocks. You know, that would make a nice sort of lap quilt size one.
Yeah, but you wouldn't get that impact, Jane.
You wouldn't get the impact, no.
You wouldn't. And I think, for the price of this, it's, I think we've
I think it's a really priced kit,
really
actually.
well. And
because you get nearly 6 meters of fabric, which is
not just any old fabric,
no, it's
but
a
really
beautiful
fabric.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So enjoy it. That's what I'm saying.
Jane, we've
enjoy
enjoyed
the process.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Half Meter Heavens go live tonight at midnight. And then Friday, watch out for your newsletter because we've got some cracking deals this week. You're going to love it. There's a little surprise for you over the weekend. Check out social media for your Saturday and Sunday surprises.
Nice.
What else do I need to say? Oh, sewing machines.
Oh.
I didn't talk sewing machines. So I had a long conversation with Juki yesterday. A lot of you are after the NX7 refurbs because there's like £1,000 off the price, and it's a fabulous machine.
Yeah,
like, to be able to take off nearly that much money off it is phenomenal. We have a waiting list for those.
Yeah.
For that money, it's worth waiting for, right?
Yeah.
And we have been very, very fair to keep it in chronological order.
Yeah.
A couple of the machines have come up and are ready for dispatch. So SJ is going to be working her way through the list. If you receive an email, you've got like a couple of days to get back to us. If you don't email back and say, yes, I want it, we go on to the next person on the list. It has to be the way that it's done.
The only fair way of doing it, isn't it, really?
So if you are on the list, and it might be that, in this time you've bought another machine or whatever, that's absolutely fine. But please do just email us back and just let us know if that is the case, because we've got so many people that want these machines.
They are lovely machines.
They are beautiful machines. So do just let us know. And we are working through the list. I know, there's a wild shortage of them at the minute. But yeah, if you are on our list, you're on our list. We are the only place in the country that Juki allow refurbished machines to come to.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, we have that relationship with them.
That's lovely.
And that's where you're going to find it. And with that same guarantee as if you'd bought a new machine as well.
Lovely.
That's the thing. So do keep an eye out for emails, and just please let us know one way or the other. Look, it's no problem if you've got another one or anything like that. There are lots on the list, but please do just let us know either way. So yeah, keep a little lookout for those emails coming through, and as and when they come up, we'll just email the next person on the list, which means that if you do want to go on the list, email us and let us know.
Yes.
And that's info@natashamakes.co.uk. info@natashamakestuff.com. Don't send it to me because I will lose it and you won't go on the list. So there we go. info@natashamakes.com.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Lovely.
Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Right. Alrighty. Jane, thank you so much.
You're very
Next
welcome.
week, I might have mentioned I'm going away for a week. And so you, SJ and Gemma are taking over for the week.
Yes, that'll be fun.
There will be shenanigans,
Shenanigans
I feel sure.
galore, I think.
Plenty. Actually, they've got. I've seen the shows planned, and they look really lovely.
Yeah,
What are you doing next Wednesday?
Well, we've had some really pretty fabric in.
Oh, is it the vintage fabric?
The vintage fabric.
Nice.
So I'm working on a pattern using that fabric. And I have to say, I'm rather liking it.
I haven't seen. What
I've
you've
only made one block so far. Gemma saw it and she was like, well, that's nice. So it's 2 blocks that are the same, but the different colours. And then when you put them together, it creates a second pattern.
I like it.
So
when
it's the
that
same block,
happens.
but different.
Okay. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Well, thank you everybody for watching today, and again, thank you everybody. I'll say in advance, thank you for. I'll thank you now.
You might not want to when you come back. No, we will look after it beautifully while you're away.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt. That's because I pick fabulous people to work with me. So I will see you guys in. Just over a week's time, 10 days time.
Yeah.
And please do support the shenanigans that occur whilst I'm away, because I'm going to need you guys to report back to me and see what has actually been going on.
She needs to know that we can look after it while she's away, so she can go again if she needs to.
Thanks everyone. Right, okay. Fun next week, torture next week. It will be fun. We will behave, honest. Yes, Myra. Yes, you will. Thank you, Lisa. Have a fab holiday, she says. Yeah, and I hope that your daughter settles into uni okay as well.
Yeah.
Elizabeth just says, Yahoo! I know. Now feeling slightly worried.
Yeah.
But there we go. One quick look again at that beautiful, beautiful fabric.
Lovely, isn't it?
Back to Jane, who is also beautiful, beautiful, and we will see you all. Well, you guys will see this lot next week. I'll see you the week after. Take care. Thank you very much.
Bye now. Stay safe.
And we'll see you soon. Bye bye.